a very happy and a vibrant day. Myself Sushmita Sahu, and today I am going to take sound of class 8 with reference to NCERT. And now again, this is a very common, very interesting topic. If you like my video, kindly subscribe my channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. So here, sound. Now, how can you hear me? How am I able to communicate with you? Obviously, with sound. So, sound plays an important role in our lives. It helps us to communicate with one another. We hear a variety of sounds in our surroundings, and you might have seen many instruments around you, and each and every instrument has a different way to communicate with you, or has a different sound. Like harmonium, tabla and tanpura and flute. If you even listen to it, you get it, oh, this is a tanpura, oh, this is a flute. So, obviously, there has to be some difference in the way, or in the way we are receiving the sound, or in the way we are the sound is being produced. How is sound produced? How does it travel from one place to another? How do we hear sound? Why are some sounds louder than another? And how do we differentiate all of these? So, these are very interesting topics which we need to know, and very interesting questions. Don't these questions come to your mind? I am sure it might be racking your mind. Ki kaise? So, now let us come to our next slide. Sound is produced by vibrating body. Now, a very good example is this. You take a thali, you take a chammach and you bang your chammach on the thali. You see the thali vibrates, or there is some vibration on it which you can feel by the hand you are holding it. So, these vibration produced is making the sound, like you have learned previously also. And what is vibration? To and fro or back and forth motion of an object is called vibration. We see that all vibrating objects produce sound. In some cases, the vibration are easily visible to us, but in most of the cases, their amplitude is so small that we cannot see them. I am sure you might know the meaning of amplitude. It is the we read it previously also in force and friction. The amplitude is when body moves from its position to the maximum, then goes to the other side to the maximum and comes back to its original position. So, this amplitude is very small and we cannot even see it, and this is producing the sound. And now, how do we produce sound? That is, how do humans produce sound? Now, there is a diagram on the screen, and I am letting you know how the things are produced. You go through the diagram and you will be able to understand how we are producing the sound. The human being. The sound is produced by the voice box, and this voice box is also called larynx. Put your fingers on the throat and find a hard bump that seems to move when you swallow. This part of the body is known as voice box. It is the upper end of the windpipe. See in the diagram very carefully. Two vocal cords are stretched across the voice box. There you can see it. The voice box is also called the larynx, in such a way that it leaves a narrow slit between them for the passage of an air. You can see the narrow slit. When the lungs force air through the slit, the vocal cords vibrate, producing sound. Muscles attached to the vocal cords can make the cords tight or loose. When the vocal cords are tight and thin, the type of quality of voice is different from that when they are loose and thick. I am sure you might have understood that, and the diagram is making it clear that how the sound is produced. Then let us come to the next slide. That sound needs a medium or for propagation. Now, what you do, you go to another room and tell your friend to bang a plate here in next room. You hear the voice in the other room. So, the sound is propagating the solid media, that is the door, the walls. Similarly, put a bell in a tub and then you can hear that voice. of the bell? Yes, you can. So, we can say that sound needs a media to propagate. You might have seen many times that when we see the astronauts and all, as we all believe that there is no air in on the moon. So, where you might have seen the astronauts, they don't talk while you know, with the they talk with each other with indication or by the sign language. Why? Because there is no air. When we are saying it needs a media, so it needs some media, and when there is a vacuum, a sound cannot propagate. So, this is one thing which you should always remember. Now, let's see our eardrum. How do we hear the sound? Obviously, with our ears. The shape of the outer part of the ear is like a funnel. When sound enters it, it travels down a canal. At the end, you can see that very clearly in the diagram. Enters at the end of which is there is a thin membrane is stretched tightly. It is called eardrum. It performs an important function. So, when the ear it gets and it hits the eardrum, obviously you hear the sound. The eardrum is like a stretched rubber sheet. Such vibrations make sound vibrations make the eardrum vibrate. The eardrum sends vibration to the inner ear. From there, the signal goes to the brain, and that is how we hear a sound. Now, how are we hearing? There is oscillation movement in the molecules of the air or of the media. The number of oscillations per second is called frequency of oscillation. Frequency is expressed in hertz. That is, hertz is the unit of expression of sound. Its symbol is capital H and small z. A frequency of 1 hertz, it means 1 oscillation per second. So, when I say 30 hertz, it means 30 oscillations, isn't it? Now, another term which we need to clear is amplitude. It also affects the sound. So, amplitude and frequency are two important properties of any sound. Now, let us see that there you might have seen there is different loudness. Sometimes the sound is very loud, sometimes it is mild, or we find some sounds very, you know, they itch your ears, the pitch is very high or they are very shrill. The loudness of sound depends on its amplitude. When the amplitude of vibration is large, the sound produced is loud. When amplitude is small, the sound produced is this or it is feeble. And now we say the frequency. The frequency determines the shrillness or pitch of a sound. If the frequency of vibration is higher, we may have the sound that is very shrill and not very pleasant to our ear. If the frequency of vibration is lower, we say the sound is of lower pitch. So, here you can see that frequency and amplitude determines the pitch and the loudness of a sound. Now, next we come to audible and inaudible sounds. That is, the audible sounds are those sounds which we can hear, and inaudible which we cannot hear. 20 vibration per second or 20 hertz cannot be detected by the human ear. Such sounds are called inaudible. On the higher side, 20,000 vibrations per second, that is 20,000 hertz, are not audible again to the human ear. So, the frequency which we can hear is 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. That is the frequency which we can hear. And now the next thing is some sounds are pleasant to our ear, which we call the music or the soft sounds. The sounds which are not pleasant to our ear is called the noise. And noise pollution, very important. I have already discussed this in my pollution chapter. And noise pollution nowadays, though you all know that there is so much of noise pollution due to horns, loudspeakers and many things which are the sound which is not pleasant to our ear at all. I am sure you might have understood this, and this noise pollution really harms us. We should take some measures to limit the noise pollution. With this and a pledge that yes, we will not do the noise pollution, I would like to thank you. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.